Hello viewers, we are back with another Pendulum Gaming OPTCG Locals Finals. Today we got an interesting one here. OP10 Teach versus OP10 Eustace Kid. A very interesting yellow deck that we're seeing pop up a little bit more in today's meta. Let's get right into the game and see how this goes. We see both players setting up here. This is definitely a matchup where the player going second is favored. Kid is able to drop that 8-drop Eustace Kid to get a little filter at the end of every turn, and Teach is able to drop that powerful 10-cost Teach blocker, the infamous boss monster of this black deck. We see a Supernova Search with that Luffy, and then an immediate Hachinosu, or full OLED in English, for our Marshall D Teach. This card just unlocking so much of the deck with a trash one from hand. Grab a Blackbeard Pirate from the top 3. Not only does it fill your trash for Jesus Burgess, more on that later, but it allows you to handpick exactly what you want each turn. We're going to see a 7 from the Kid, and then that wonderful Scratchman Apu 1-cost blocker if you have another Supernova in play. These 1-drops may seem not very intimidating, but in the Teach matchup, as we've seen before, they can be quite powerful. Like with 3 Dawn on this Luffy Searcher, it can start swinging. We see another full OLED to start the Teach's turn, and that beautiful Alt Art Kuzan is grabbed. 5 at life, and when you see Teach with 4 Dawn, you probably know what's coming. The villain of the format, 4-cost Jesus Burgess, which gets plus 1000 power for every card in your trash and cannot be KO'd by effects. Just a very powerful card that can snowball out of control. Let's see how this Kid player responds. 5 Dawn. Remember, something like a OP08 Nami cannot clear this Jesus Burgess due to its invulnerability to being KO'd by effects. So let's start with a simple 6 at lead. I like this. So the Teach actually takes this, going down to what looks like 3 life. And then we see another 6 coming through with the Luffy, as mentioned before. These little guys can turn into attackers out of nowhere, especially in this matchup. I mean, ideally you're looking to play a body on your 5 Dawn turn, but swinging with your leader and a character puts a lot of pressure on the Marshall D Teach. 6 Dawn turn, we might see something like that Kuzan come out. Again, Kuzan can turn into Jesus Burgess, placing itself with a Blackbeard Pirate from your trash while drawing a card. Just one of the very powerful OP10 staples that we see in these Marshall D Teach decks. Let's start with a simple 5. He might be opting to clear the Luffy here, just to take the pressure off a little bit and really go late game. The Teach's goal is to go super late game here, blockering up with these powerful 12k blockers, and just creating a defensive stronghold that Kid cannot get through. We see our first leader effect of the game, allowing our Burgess to turn into a 6k body, with a simple swing 7 coming in at lead. This will turn off Eustace Kid's on plays during their next turn, which is, of course, what the Teach wants to do as Kid enters their 7 Dawn turn, where they have the opportunity to play out something like that 7-cost Secret Rare Law. But now it just reads as a 7/9 vanilla due to that powerful Marshall D Teach leader effect. Sometimes we often see players ignoring the lack of on-plays, like here, just playing their bodies as vanillas, because 7/9 is still an extremely powerful stat line into this Marshall D Teach. And now that it gains blocker through the Kid's leader effect, we have a very nice defensive turn coming up with 2 blockers on board, but staring down that powerful Burgess and a Kuzan that can quickly turn into Burgess. Remember, players, starting with the full OLED or any sort of search effect allows you to get the cards you need before you commit any Dawn. I always stay true to the phrase random effects before choice ones to best improve your odds of playing optimally. 9 Dawn is an awkward turn for Teach, though. You're not quite at that 10 drop yet. 8 Dawn turn. You're not quite at that 10 drop, but you do have the opportunity to just slam down things like double Burgess, something like Van Arger and Doc Q to maybe clear some of that blockers. Or maybe even playing This Is My Age, that searcher event that mills 2 and grabs 1 from the top 3 search, that powers up your Burgesses very quickly. But we're just going to start with that 5. We see Kid discarding that powerful Nico Robin. Of course not powerful in this matchup because its on plays tend to be turned off. But it's curious to see how we're going to swing with these bodies, because remember, Eustace Kid has this 9K blocker on board in that Trafalgar Law. Very interesting. We see Stronger in hand. We see a plentiful amount of 2Ks. We're going to start with that Kuzan effect, drawing a card and playing out Van Augur from the trash. Van Augur, of course, has that activate main, give something -3 on your opponent's board, which combos nicely with that Doc Q. Oh, we're seeing a little rearrange here. -3 to the blocker law, and then a Shigan finger pistol, KOing that 7 cost after Van Augur gives it the minus. Just a very powerful combo, and he still has 4 Dawn left to work with. Oh, if we see another thing, oh, he has another Burgess in hand. Just establishing this many Burgess allows you to apply pressure after pressure after pressure every single turn with bodies your opponent cannot KO by effects. And viewers, don't forget that Burgess does stay at that increased number even on the opponent's turn. So it's going to be more and more awkward to swing into it. Our teacher player discarding a card for the leader effect, of course wanting to stay healthy, grabbing another 2K, and passes back, opting to not even swing with the Burgess. Perhaps preserving it or setting up checkmate turns where he could just go something like 9-9, 12 with a blocker that he eventually plays. We see the 9 Dawn turn for our kid here. He wants to be careful with clearing that Van Augur because, of course, on KO, Van Augur has that ability for the Teach player to draw a card. Certainly will be interesting to see how this goes. We see a couple of those Supernova Vanillas in hand, something like that 6-8 Cavendish, which the leader effect can restand as a blocker, but not quite, because the Kid leader effect requires the life card to be face down to turn something into a blocker. And as we can see, that Scratchman Apu is sitting at the top of life, face up. This might have been a reason for why the Teach player did not swing with that Burgess to deny the Kid leader of its leader effect. Such a 3D play from our Teach player here. 8 Dawn tap to play that Captain Kid, of course, with no on-play effects. It does not get the Trash Life effect, but at the end of turn, this Kid player will get to draw 1 and trash 1. Just a little bit of filter to fix the hand. Keep it chock full of counter as well as a play for every turn. But 10 Dawn for the Teach. You know what that means. 10 Dawn is the turn of fear when you're facing down Marshall D. Teach. Because, of course, that boss monster, 10 cost Marshall D. Teach. This 10 cost 12K blocker shuts down a unit completely on board, negating its effect and allowing it to not attack that next turn, but also establishes a 10 cost 12K blocker in the meantime. Do you know how hard it is to get through a 12K blocker? Instead, though, we opt to play a little more defensive. I like this. If you can clear the Eustace Kid with the combo of Shigan Finger Pistol and Van Augur, why wouldn't you? Van Augur just showing its value here, clearing 2 huge bodies in tandem with these events. We still get the follow-led search here, filling up the trash even further for our burger, or should I say burgess, with another follow-led search. 6 Dawn still up for our Marshall D. Teach. We could see plays like another Kuzan and just more methods of shutting down Kid's board and establishing these huge bodies. Despite the Kid's hand staying relatively healthy at 6 cards, I have a feeling that these Burgess' swings are going to have an impact on his life and his cards in hand. Unfortunately, this 1-cost Scratchman Apu does not have blocker right now due to the stipulation being that it requires another Supernova to be on the field. A third Burgess hits the field. And folks, this is exactly what you want to see us teach, and the opposite of what you want to see if you're facing a teach. Because, oh my goodness, the pressure teach can put on with these swings every turn. Even turning this Burgess into a 9. Oh, just pressuring lethal at any given time. Doesn't even need the 10 cost teach because you can just go aggressive with the Burgesses. Oh, how disgusting if you're facing this. I mean, the hand can be as healthy as you want as the kid player. You're not getting out of 3 9K swings at least every turn. We see another 9K swing coming in. And you could be thinking, kid could play down that 10 drop ace that heals and gives itself rush. Oh, well, viewer at home, that unfortunately is an on-play effect. And as denoted by the coin on the teach leader, that on-play has been negated by the leader. We're waiting to resolve this 9 swing here. You don't want to go to 1 life too quick, but if you have no other choice, you might just have to counter out with 3 cards. 10 Dawn for this Eustace Captain Kid, and what can you do? You can start with a 5. I like starting with a 5, because the teach, contrary to the Captain Kid, only has 2 cards in hand. So he opts to take this life. Oop, do we see a trigger? I know some teachers have been going around with that I bid 500 million with the powerful trigger to KO a 6 or less. So we might be thinking on that to clear the Scratchman-Apoo to get rid of that potential blocker. Oh, it looks like a liberation trigger, negating the leader effect. Oh, this is an interesting interaction. Now Kid can't give one of those supernovas blocker at the end of turn. How interesting. 10 Dawn, we could still see that ace being played, of course not gaining rush, but just being played as a 10-10 vanilla. Truly unfortunate board state if you're the kid staring down 3 massive Jesus Burgess in tandem with that Van Auger. Just a very sticky situation. That Basil Hawkins we see in hand is of course something you want to establish on an earlier turn with that on KO effect trashing your opponent's life, which not only gets around the Marshall D Teach leader effect, but can be restood as a blocker to guarantee opponent life is trash. Very sticky situation for our kid here. This match kind of showcasing the power of multiple Burgesses generating value after value every turn. Perhaps Van Auger also getting his awards here, just showing how -3 in tandem with a Shigan finger pistol can clear essentially everything in this kid's deck. We see 5 cards in hand for a Eustace Kid. I don't think that could get out of 999 with that's before Van Auger swings. Are you serious? Yeah, just very aggressive, leaving 4 Dawn up. Perhaps something like that L Thor some kids have been running lately. But remember now that Cavendish, another supernova, is on the board. This Scratchman-Apoo now has blocker. So it's going to be interesting to see how our Marshall D Teach can deal with that blocker. 9 coming in. Our kid will take here. Perhaps seeing a trigger with that Nico Robin. Interesting. Playing out a 3 or less from hand, playing out that Luffy Searcher, grabbing an X-Drake from the top 5, a powerful 2K. A very good trigger, but not when you're staring down this many massive bodies. Another 9 coming through, and we just see the concession from Captain Kid. A wonderful game here, just showcasing the damage Jesus Burgess can do over time in tandem with that Teach Leader effect. Wonderful finals. Congratulations to both players, and we will see you in the next one.